Module 1: Stress in Today's World. We're living in a world where happiness and sorrow are part of life. Sometimes we lose our favorite thing and become sad, and at the same time, many people achieve something in their life and enjoy this moment. Stress is one of the most common problems nowadays, especially among the young generation. Stress can not only affect your mental health but also down you by disturbing your physical health. According to the American Institute of Stress, about 33% of people report feeling extreme stress. 77% of people experience stress that affects their physical health. 73% of people have stress that impacts their mental health. 48% of people have trouble sleeping because of stress. Stress is not just limited to a specific gender, ethnicity, or age group. It can affect people of all ages. These were just a few facts and figures about stress. But what stress actually is, and how can we say a specific person is suffering from stress? Let's find the answer to these questions first and then discuss further topics. Stress is a mental tension or a state of worry when someone faces a difficult situation. Usually our body and mind make some specific and adaptive capabilities. When our minds and body face a situation beyond our capabilities, we can suffer stress. For example, a student can write just 5 pages in an assignment, but when the same student is asked to write 10 pages, then he or she can suffer from stress. Stress is a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats that we face in our daily life. Usually, stress involves 3 important aspects. 1. The experience of the stressor can be positive and negative. 2. The capacity of an individual to handle stress. This capacity can be sufficient and exceeded. 3. The reaction of an individual is a determining factor of stress. The Yerkes-Dodson principle is an important concept that describes the different effects of stress on an individual. Remember that stress is not always harmful to the individual. Stress can enhance your performance, health, and well-being of an individual. This means that if we give you a lengthy assignment after this video, you can boost your health and performance. But when stress exceeds the ability to cope, diminished performance, inefficiency, and health problems can occur. Now it's time to discuss some most important types of stress. Eustress is any kind of positive and desirable stress is called eustress. For example, stress while watching a scary but fun movie or the excitement of a roller coaster ride. Distress means any kind of stress that negatively affects an individual is called distress. Acute stress. This type of stress appears suddenly, is usually quite intense, and then disappears quickly. It can further be divided into acute episodic stress. Acute episodic stress means repeated episodes of acute stress. Chronic stress means long-term stress resulting from problems that just don't seem to go away. A stressor is any event or situation that an individual perceives as a threat that causes him or her to either adapt or initiate the stress response. Holistic health. Many of us think that if we don't have any disease, then we are healthy. This is totally a wrong perception. Health relates to more than just the physical dimension. The 2 most common dimensions of health are physical health, intellectual health, emotional health, spiritual health. Physical health. Our body is made up of cells, tissues, organs, and systems. The functioning of these structures is known as physical health. Any kind of disturbance in these structures due to any external and internal factors causes disease. Intellectual health. Intellectual health is defined as the ability of an individual to think and learn from experiences, the ability to assess and question new information, and an openness to learning new things. Emotional health. It is defined as an ability of an individual to experience and appreciate a wide range of feelings and the ability to express these feelings and emotions in a healthy manner. Spiritual health relates to the principles and values that guide a person and give meaning, direction, and purpose to life. If a person is able to determine the aim of his or her life, then we call the person spiritually healthy. Social health. It is one of the most common dimensions of health and defines the ability of an individual to relate to others and express care and concern for others. Humans are social animals, thus all of us need to have good social health. Factors influencing stress. Several factors can influence the experience of stress. Several factors determine how a person behaves under stress, from one's body to the environment. Heredity is defined as the passing of mental and physical characteristics from parents to the next generation. This means that some people are genetically predisposed to higher stress levels. Environment factors, such as surrounding people, crowding, population, etc., also influence the level of stress. The number of stressors also matter. If a person faces more than one problem or stressor, then the level of stress can be increased. The magnitude of the stressor is the severity of the problem that is responsible for the stress. Developmental level of the individual can mean the mental health and age of an individual, and finally, the availability of social support. Sources of stress. The most common sources of stress include time management. In essence, how you utilize your time. Good time management practices always lower that level of stress. Thus, always try to complete your homework or daily tasks at the proper time. Your expectations from other people. Expectations of the family from an individual. Suppose your father expects that you will get a 95 on an exam. If you only score a 90, you can suffer from stress. Employment decision and finance. Research has proved that stress levels are higher in unemployed and poor people than in other people. Academic demand. Relationships, in essence, death, breakup, etc. Poor physical health. Environmental stressors such as people around you, pollution, etc. Stress and the developing brain. Animal research shows that a well-defined period of early postnatal development may be an important determinant of the capacity to handle stress throughout life. Different animals have been used to prove this hypothesis. Some most important findings from these researches include monkeys raised by mothers who experienced unpredictable conditions in obtaining food showed a pattern often seen in humans with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. Maternally deprived rat pups showed a more profound and excessive response. Self-assessment. Measuring your own stress level is very important in effective stress management. This can be only possible through self-assessment. To manage stress in an effective way, you need to understand or determine the following factors associated with stress: causes of stress, factors associated with unnecessary stress, the intensity of your stress compared to others. You can determine your stress level through a detailed self-assessment, which means the evaluation of one's own actions, attitude, and performance. Self-assessment involves several tools that can help you to determine your stress level. The most important ones are symptoms of stress, perceived stress scale, inventory of college students' recent life experiences, Ardell Wellness Stress Test, student stress scale, stress vulnerability factors, tombstone test, daily stress diary. Let's discuss each of the tools in more detail. Assess your stress. Stress results in several physiological changes in an individual. Whenever you feel stressed, always check the following physiological factors: resting heart rate. Assess your heart rate while resting. Breathing pattern. Check whether you're facing some breathing issues or not. If yes, then whether you have slow breathing or an increase in breathing rate. Respiration rate. Check inspiration or intake of air and expiration. Stressometer. On a scale of 1, relatively stress-free, to 10, high anxiety most of the time. Remember, normal heart rate ranges from 50 to 100 beats per minute, and average is 70 to 80. Similarly, normal respiration rate ranges from 12 to 16 breaths per minute. Always keep in mind that chest breathing is always associated with stress, whereas abdominal breathing is associated with relaxation. Symptoms of stress. The most common symptoms of the stress include headaches, tense muscles, sore neck and back, fatigue, anxiety, worry, phobias, difficulty falling asleep, irritability, insomnia, bouts of anger or hostility, boredom and/or depression, eating too much or too little, diarrhea, cramps, gas, constipation, restlessness, itching, tics, grinding teeth, clenching jaw during sleep, difficulty concentrating. Learn from the story of the Titanic. The captain of the Titanic was warned 6 separate times to slow down, change course, and take the southern route. But he ignored all 6 warnings and was lulled into complacency because he believed his ship was unsinkable. Thus, always try to listen to your body when it sends you signals and slow down, change course, or take another route. Perceived Stress Scale. The Perceived Stress Scale, or PSS, is a classic stress assessment instrument. The questions in this scale ask about your feelings and thoughts during the last month. In each case, you will be asked to indicate how often you felt or thought a certain way. Although some of the questions are similar, there are differences between them, and you should treat each one as a separate question. An important characteristic of the Perceived Stress Scale is that it focuses on perception of events, not simply the occurrence of events. Inventory of college students' recent life experiences. This is one of the most common methods to determine the stress level in the college students. It focuses on the occurrence of stresses and hassles. Ardell Wellness Stress Test. Don Ardell developed a stress test that incorporates physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social aspects of health. Student Stress Scale. This was an amazing tool to measure first-year college students' stress levels. The measure includes a 5-point scale in which students indicate how frequently they are distressed or anxious or question their ability, from 1 equals never to 5 equals very often. Stress vulnerability factors. These include economic, physical, environmental, and social factors. Other common factors include genetic, thinking style, coping style. Tombstone Test. Imagine that you've achieved the goal you're most obsessed with today, and these achievements are written on your tombstone. Now think, is it something you'd want to be remembered for? Live your life so you will be remembered for what is important to you. Daily Stress Diary. Maintain a diary to monitor your stress. This is one of the best methods that you can use to determine your stress level. Watch for the pattern and try to lower the stressors.